Reflecting on the infamous video where a minor car accident escalates into a heated argument, let's ponder a fundamental aspect of human nature. We often pride ourselves on possessing wisdom, honor, and logical reasoning. However, when faced with insults or disrespect, our noble virtues seem to vanish, giving way to a torrent of emotional reactions. Now, this isn't to suggest that defending one's self-respect is unwarranted. But what if there exists a more enlightened approach to addressing such conflicts? Join me as we explore 10 guiding principles for navigating instances of disrespect with grace and composure. 1. Maintaining composure amidst insults. Maintaining composure amidst insults or provocations is key. It's tempting to retaliate when disrespected, but such reactions only escalate tensions. Instead, take a deep breath and count to 10 to regain control of your emotions. Reacting aggressively usually exacerbates the situation. Remember Marcus Aurelius' advice: don't stoop to the level of wrongdoers. By maintaining dignity and self-discipline, you can elevate the interaction, even if the other party doesn't reciprocate at first. 2. Reflect on the source of disrespect. Consider whether the offender's behavior stems from their own insecurities or unresolved issues, rather than a genuine reflection of your worth. Recognize that people's actions often speak more about themselves than about you. By not internalizing insults and maintaining faith in your values, you can let go of offense and uphold your dignity. 3. Embracing the role of the bigger person. When faced with insults or mistreatment, take a moment before reacting negatively. View it as a test of your principles and resilience. Find the wisdom and strength to transcend the urge for retaliation. Respond with calm assertiveness rather than aggression, setting clear boundaries and protecting yourself without resorting to insults or hostility. Make reasonable requests for changed behavior, but refrain from demanding or commanding. If disrespectful behavior persists, know when it's time to temporarily or permanently walk away from the situation or relationship, but do so with integrity, avoiding explosive outbursts or parting shots. Maintaining poise and respectfulness when provoked not only transforms the conflict but also shapes your character. Each challenging interaction offers an opportunity to demonstrate principles of understanding, patience, and courage. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, facing trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength, and disrespect loses its power to disturb you when you respond with virtue. 4. Focusing on what you can control. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you but how you react that matters. When insulted or mistreated, avoid wasting energy trying to change the other person or endlessly ruminating about the situation. You cannot dictate their attitudes or behavior, but you have full agency over your response. Ask yourself constructive questions like how to handle the situation with composure and ethics, what you can learn about yourself and your principles, and the most dignified way to move forward. Channel your power into the sphere of influence available to you, staying rooted in your values, acting with integrity, calmly advocating for fair treatment when viable, and controlling the message you tell yourself. Seek to improve circumstances through reasonable action when feasible, but without attachment to controlling uncontrollable things like someone else's conduct. Serenity comes from focusing only on what is within your power. While disrespect may be unavoidable at times, you always have the choice to respond with wisdom and principle or react with disturbance and blindness. Your control begins within. 5. Remembering that we all make mistakes. It's natural to feel anger and desire for retribution when insulted or mistreated, but holding on to resentments rarely benefits you in the long run. It chains you energetically to the one who hurt you. Ask yourself whether a slight disrespect merits your ongoing distress and demand for vengeance. Is it better to simply forgive unskillful behavior that was not deeply malicious and move on? As Marcus Aurelius put it, the best response is not to become like the wrongdoer but to wish them well instead. Forgiveness demonstrates courage and principles. Of course, some acts of disrespect cross lines requiring accountability or removal from your life. Use wisdom to discern unhealthy patterns necessitating boundaries from simple misunderstandings warranting grace. For minor disputes, a short memory often serves happiness. As Epictetus said, we should control our anger and restrain it in narrow bounds lest it becomes our master. Avoid blown conflicts. The respectful and wise know that all people sometimes speak or act unskillfully, but kindness, patience and forgiveness heal rifts. Renew your spirit by releasing lesser offenses and choose your battles judiciously. 6. Accepting that you cannot please everyone. It's important to recognize that no matter how kind, skillful, or wise you are, there will always be people who are disrespectful or simply dislike you. This is beyond your control. Reflect on the root causes of disrespectful behavior towards you. It may stem from vastly different values, worldviews, and experiences rather than anything personal about you. Remind yourself that people have the right to their preferences and opinions, even if they differ from your own. You need not take differences of taste as personal affronts. While reflecting on feedback to consider if there's room for improvement in your conduct, remember that not all criticism is fair or accurate. Some criticism may reflect the inner issues of the critic rather than your shortcomings. Accept that you won't be everyone's cup of tea and make peace with this inevitability. Your worth is not dependent on pleasing the whole world. Stay grounded inwardly, follow your conscience, and manage your emotions skillfully when disliked, but don't expect universal approval as it cannot be forced. 7. Reflecting on whether any of their criticism has validity. Stoics understand that we all have flaws and room for growth. Handle even disrespectful feedback thoughtfully. When someone attacks or mocks an element of your character, avoid knee-jerk defensiveness. Pause and review their feedback rationally once emotions have settled down. Ask yourself, might this criticism highlight a genuine weakness in me, even if the delivery is harsh? Be open to the usefulness of the message and consider if there's any room for improvement or virtues to cultivate related to the flaws they pointed out. Conduct an honest self-inventory before rejecting criticism outright. Use discernment to determine what comes from their issues versus your genuine shortcomings. Consider the source's wisdom and motivations before fully accepting their critiques. Thank those giving constructive feedback even if it's painful. There is an opportunity for growth even in hurtful remarks if you search for the lesson with humility. Enemies often point out weaknesses that friends gloss over to be kind. The Stoics know we are all imperfect and have room to improve ourselves each day. Even from disrespect, wisdom can emerge if you listen for it. Handle feedback with rational discernment rather than dismissing it as simply unfair. 8. Surround yourself with respectful, supportive people. Be mindful when evaluating your relationships in social circles. Do certain individuals consistently act dismissively or demeaningly towards you? Do they fail to recognize your worth? Consider limiting contact with those who bring out the worst in you, even if disconnecting completely isn't feasible, such as with difficult family members. Aim to minimize time spent together, interacting only briefly and under controlled conditions when possible. Manage your exposure and fill your life with those who treat you with basic decency while encouraging your growth. Surrounding yourself with people who resonate with your values can make all the difference. Good company uplifts your entire being. Of course, have compassion even for toxic people, but protect your energy. Relationships should empower both parties, not drain one. You teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate. Surround yourself with those who see your light rather than casting shade upon it. Life opens up exponentially when you let some connections recede to make room for fulfilling bonds aligned with your highest self. 9. Maintain emotional distance from those who mistreat you. When someone insults you, recognize that it says more about their issues and character than your value as a person. Their opinions come from their subjective perspective, not an absolute truth. Don't take attacks personally. Keep inner faith in your worth and principles regardless of others' conduct. Their disrespect does not diminish your value. Remain grounded in self-knowledge rather than seeking validation from them. While no one enjoys being attacked, the impact on your spirit is within your power to manage. As Marcus Aurelius advised, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Don't allow the shortcomings of others to become your own by allowing their words to affect how you see yourself. You remain fully in control of your dignity and inner peace. Externals cannot penetrate your mind and heart without your consent, keeping your spirit elevated beyond the reach of unjustified criticism. 10. Avoid excessive gossip and complaints about disrespect. Venting often leads to dwelling on negatives and gives the situation more power over you. While it's important to share disrespectful incidents with close confidants who offer healthy support and perspective, avoid fixating endlessly on anyone who will listen. This reinforces victimhood and negativity. When you feel the urge to gossip or complain, pause first. Consider if this truly serves your growth or just spreads toxicity. There are often better uses for your time and energy. Excessive complaining can easily become a bad habit when disrespected. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Shift your focus to constructive action instead. Look for the learning in difficulties rather than just recounting tales of woe. Frame experiences neutrally as opportunities to demonstrate virtues like forgiveness, courage, and patience. Avoid words that inflate the significance of disrespect and be wary of confirmation bias when commiserating with those who only agree with your perspective." Speaking of grievances can release emotions in the short term but keeps you stuck in victimhood. Handle difficulties philosophically within yourself rather than amplifying negativity outwardly. Please remember that true strength doesn't just come from facing challenges, but also from how we handle them. With patience and determination, we can overcome every obstacle with integrity and resilience. Keep steadfast in your principles and always remember that your true worth is not determined by the respect of others. We are the ones who decide our own confidence and self-worth. Thank you for joining us, and I hope these principles will help you navigate through life's trials. Let's continue to build a strong and meaningful future.